Good morning. Happy Saturday, Restylers and Upcyclers. We're here today to work on the corset. So I'm going to give folks a chance to get on. It usually takes a minute for StreamYard to push this to YouTube and for YouTube to get a notification out to everybody. But I hope everybody's doing well. It is Saturday, January 25th. It is the last Saturday of the month. And on the last Saturday of the month, I go live. And today, we're actually sewing. Sometimes I do a little chit chat on the last Saturday of the month, but this time we're going to work on the corset. And I'm all set up. I've spent the last few days cleaning out my sewing studio. So my living room looks like a train wreck came through it. But I found a little corner so that we could get some work done today. So I see that we've got a few folks on. Good morning. Let me know where you're from. Are you working on the corset or are you just going to be hanging out watching? Let me know. Good morning. Good morning. So I got the sewing machine set up. I got the ironing board set up. Camera set up so that we can be looking at the sewing machine as I'm putting the pieces together. We won't finish everything today. Good morning from North Carolina. We won't finish everything today, although I do have my grommets, so I am prepared to be done. So what I'm going to do this morning while I sew, I actually have my camera set up. So I'm going to be recording as I go along, and I will edit the video and do an edited video so that folks who actually want to follow along don't have to scroll through the entire live, although I can probably do some chapters in the live, but 90 minutes is a long time. Good morning. Good morning. So we have Aisha, Margaret, Arlene, Poor Sitters. Hi, you just found me. Great. Welcome to the family. See, we're so happy to have you. I know that is so corny. But Joanne's was selling these shirts before the pandemic, and they were like $3. I bought them all. Black, short sleeve, long sleeve, white, gold lettering, white lettering. I bought them all. So good morning, you guys. Thanks for joining. So if you have not watched it already, I am going to drop in the chat the link to the video that is the part one. So this is the part one of this video that we're doing today. And we're going to dig into trying to finish up. But while we're sewing, feel free if you have questions, if you're working on other projects and you have questions about that. The last time we were on here, we talked about doing leather and denim. So I do have some leather scraps that I picked up from the textile outlet. I'm actually editing the January video, and I take you guys to the textile outlet here in Chicago. I think you all are really going to enjoy it. It's one of the better, well, it's one of the few fabric stores that we have here in Chicago, and they have literally everything. And when I was there a couple of weeks ago, they had leather, like different color leather, like painted on leather. But I picked this up a little while ago, and these are just some leather scraps. And I think they're really nice sizes. So I feel like we could do handbags. So the goal is to get this done before the spring and do a mix of leather. Let me get my other so you guys can see the table. So the goal is to do leather and denim mix handbag. And I'll try to get that done soon so that you guys can see it and actually have time to either go online and order yourself some leather. Amazon sells leather, what do you call it? Like leather scraps. They do sell that. You can also get leather on Etsy. All right, let's get my phone on here so we can see better. And we are going to, now that it's 8 o'clock, let's see. We will get started momentarily. Okay. There's one. And sorry, you guys. I'm just trying to make sure I get the phones connected so you guys can see the sewing table. Okay, here we go. All right, we're up. All right, good morning, Miss Lala. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's turn the camera around. We're going to use the back camera. And I just need to make sure. All right. They're not making this easy. They used to let you decide whether or not, yeah, because I need it to be in landscape. All right. Good morning, Samantha and Nini from Fort Lauderdale. We got folks from all over this morning. All right, let's get into the studio. Back. Audio. We are going to turn this off. So I apologize for a moment. There might be a little bit of feedback. This is Okay, hopefully you guys aren't getting feedback. Let me know if you are so that I can make sure that that is not happening. Let's see. Sounds good? Okay, great. All right, let me now. This is the leather that I was referring to. So I've got some darker, some lighter. All of this is kind of in the taupish, brownish color. But this is what we'll be using. And I will go on Amazon and I'll look to see if I can find some links so that just in case you guys want to check it out, price it out. Okay. I hear feedback and it is driving me bananas. Okay, there we go. All right. And good morning from Italy. Wow, that's amazing. See, what is it there? Like 4 in the afternoon? No, 2, 3, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Great. All right. So I did put a link in the chat so that if you guys want to reference if you all want to reference the previous video, you can. And we're going to head over to the sewing machine. 3 p.m. Yep. Okay. What part of Italy? I'm going over to the other. All right. We're coming on in just a moment. All right. You guys still with me? You're in Florence. I love Florence. I actually was in Florence and Rome and prefer Florence over Rome. All right. I wish I had spent more time there. Okay, how are we looking? Add to stage. All right. So here is our view. And just to recap, so this was the sample that I created for you guys last week. If you haven't seen it, there is a short. And basically, I made the sample from the muslin and it turned out almost perfect. So I did this so that I could talk to you guys through the next process after having done it already. I didn't press it or anything. I just sewed it together. It is a lot of pieces, but it really gives this corset such a nice shape. I mean, it lays really nice. And I did, and I apologize, I did not respond to an email that I received about extending the top or the bottom. And if you want to make this longer or shorter, you just add to the top of the pattern piece. I didn't do any of those adjustments, but let me show you. So for instance, what I think works well is using this sewing gauge and basically at the top of the pattern, if you feel like you need to raise it up more. Personally, I feel like after I made this, it's got pretty decent coverage, but I understand that if you want a little more modesty and you want to come up a little higher, you absolutely can. You're only adding to the top, okay? So say you want to add an extra inch, just remember that that extra inch also includes a seam allowance. So if you wanted to add an extra inch, you could just come right above there and you can add additional piece of paper and tape it on there, or you could add it before you even cut the pattern out. But if you want to add it on late, you can. I would just use some tape, and then I would take a pen or pencil and draw my line. I'll show you. I would just take a pen or pencil. I would draw my line here, 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 keeping my gauge on the cutting line. And so you would just come up this way, over, and back down. Okay. Another tip for these free mood patterns is that you can print your individual size as opposed to all of the sizes being printed out at once, but you need Adobe. So if you have Adobe, you can print these out with just your size. Of course, that makes it a lot easier because you're not like trying to find which line. And I did struggle a little bit trying to find the line, but once I identified it, I was able to stay on it all the way through. And don't forget about these notches. Now, I missed a couple notches when I was cutting this out. And as a result, when I got ready to sew it together, one of these was off at the bottom. You can see where it's a little uneven. And that's what you don't want. So please be sure to cut the notches. Okay. Now, I did not buy Bukram because they did not have Bukram in any of the stores that I went to. None. So I bought this really, really heavyweight interfacing, which it actually feels like Bukram. And I numbered each one of the pieces. So this is number 1. This is number 2. 3. Oops. 3, 4, 5. And I'm moving quickly through this because I did already do a full video on how to print out the pattern, cut the pattern out, make sure you're cutting your notches, and I cut out all of the pattern pieces, as you see here. Oops. All the pattern pieces are cut out, including the lining and then the interfacing or buckram. And I know some of you guys went out and purchased. So hopefully you have all of your supplies. I like this one because you don't have to put a zipper in. And if you know anything about sewing corsets and having to put a zipper in, that means that your pattern has to be near perfect. And that is really, really difficult. You can do it with a very precise cut and very precise sewing, but it is definitely a challenge. Okay, so these are all the pattern pieces that I cut out, and we're going to start sewing. All right, let's see, do we have anybody else come in? All right. Okay, let's get the sewing machine back on the stage and get ourselves a little light. And you're going to start with the center section. I didn't mix these up. I tried to pin everything together. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do a good job with that. Anybody recognize? I don't know if our Italian friend is still there. Our friend from Italy is still there, but I got that when I was in Capri. All right, just trying to make sure you guys can see. All right, I'm gonna push this back a little bit. And you wanna start with the front center section, which is this one. I marked it number 1. And what I ended up doing, I have 2 number 1s. I'm gonna keep this one for another corset because I am making 2 of these. You'll see it in a later video. So start with the middle section and we're going to use this as the back. So the side that I have the number on is going to be the wrong side. Okay. Just checking to make sure. Late. It said 2 p.m. 2 p.m. in my post? Really? I have to check that out. I thought for sure I put in there 8 a.m. I apologize for that. Yeah, I usually do 8 a.m. last Saturday of the month. Okay, I'll take a look at that. But we're here and I just started. Just went over the first video, what we covered in that. I also did a short where I showed you how I sewed it together, even though we're gonna sew it. Man, I can't believe that. Okay. Well, I'm glad I started early so that people had an opportunity to get the notification because it does take a while for the notification to come through. Let's see who else we have in here. Maria from Florida. Hey. And then we've got your sewing gal pal. Good morning. Good morning. And a feminine, you are here. Could be your old eyes thought I was odd. Yeah, no, I definitely don't want to do at 2 o'clock. I'm like in my day. So we're always going to do these early. All right. So we've got the front piece here. I cut this on the fold. I cut it on the seam of the jeans because I like the idea of having this stitch down the center. I might regret it later, but for right now, we're good. Now I'm going to look for piece number 2. I numbered everything. That's 6. And this is 2. Oh, this is 7. All right, 2, 3. So something came loose. I think that's piece number 6. All right, so this is number 2. And like I said, I tried to do really good with the notches, but sometimes I am moving so fast that I miss them. And now I can't find my pin cushion. So we're going to put the pins to the side and hope they don't roll off the table. I did cut 2 pieces of lining because I am going to make this same pattern from a different piece of fabric. So I'm going to take these 2. This is going to stay here. I'm going to take these other 2 pieces and I'm going to just write 2 on here so that I can use that later. All right, so here we are with the curved edge of number 2. And we're going to match those notches up on the lining as well as on the denim. And it's pretty, I won't say it's easy, but as long as you've cut the notches to, this is where I missed the notch right down here. That's what threw me off when I made the sample. But otherwise, it matches up. And this one matches up here. And I need to get more pins. And then I'm going to match this notch up here. Need some pins. All right, do we have anybody else? Okay. Grab a few pins. All right. Now this side, just turn it around. Again, missing a notch down there, so that does throw me off a little bit. The notches are super important, especially with this pattern. And if you could not tell, and I'll just show it to you, but these straight marks here, those are the notches. And typically I cut the notch out and make a little triangle. I feel like that's the best way to do the notches. All right, so let's finish pinning. Line that up there. And right now I'm just really pinning where the notches are. If you feel comfortable and you need more pins, absolutely do so. All right, then we're going to open this up so that we can put piece number 3 and attach that. I'm going to take the one that I've already written the number on, and then on this one I'm going to put 3 so I can use that later. All right, and so now we have we will match up notches here at the bottom. And for those of you who are just joining or didn't watch the previous video, we are using the mood pattern titled Cerise. I can't remember what the number is for that pattern, but it is Cerise, and it is a corset pattern. When we did the last live, I asked folks to, I'm going to pin this a little differently so that I can open it up a little better. I'm going to put the pins in horizontally instead of vertically so that when I'm sewing, I can pull them out a little easier. The majority of folks on the live earlier this month, I think I did a live like the first couple days of the new year and asked folks what they would be interested in seeing for a sew along, and most voted for the corset. So that is what we are working on today. Let me just make sure I did that right. Let me just make sure we have any questions over here. Forget to click. Oh, thank you. Where are the notches on the pattern? I didn't see any. Oh, let me just go over that again. So notches are indicated by these little lines in the cut line. So if you did not cut the notches out, this is what you can do. You can use a pencil or marker or chalk. If you have not cut the notches, before you remove the pattern from the fabric, you can go in with your marker or chalk or a piece of soap, and you can mark the notch on the fabric. Okay, so let me just show you. Let's see, this is piece 5. So for instance, if I did not cut my notches on piece 5, I'll show you. To the side. So if I did not cut my notches, then I'll lay this on top and just lift it up where you see the notch. The notch is these little lines right here. And then just make a line. And this should be sufficient. Now, if you're using denim, then no big deal. You won't be able to see these marks. But if you're using some other kind of fabric, then you don't want to use a marker. You want to use a piece of chalk or a piece of soap, or a removable pen or removable pencil so that you can just wipe that off later. But that is the option in case you did not do the notch. Like for instance, right here, I forgot to cut my notch. So, and here. So all of these places where I forgot to cut my notch, I'm going in and I'm going to make a line so that I don't forget to match those up. In fact, I'm going to do it all the way. And that way I can match these up when I get ready to sew. And you can do that, like I could do that on the denim because you wouldn't be able to see any marks. So I'm going to go to piece 4 and let's see if I cut all my notches in piece 4. If I didn't, then I will let's see. All right. Any more questions? Let's see. Piece 3, piece 4. Yep, I missed some. I'm going to go in on, I'm going to put the piece 4 pattern with right sides together, line it up. I'm going to put the pattern piece on top. I'm going to go in and make a little mark. That notch I did do, but the notches on the other side I completely missed. And this is part of what threw my sample off, because I didn't have those other notches. Now this does make for a little extra step, but it's totally worth it. You will not regret going back and adding the notch. And if you're using regular manufacturer patterns like Simplicity, Vogue, Butterick, anything like that, I am a stickler for notches. They are, it's like putting a puzzle together, and you just don't want to not have those to follow along with. It really makes your life a lot easier. It really does. So I'm just going in and adding my notches, and sounds like at least one of you might need to do the same thing I'm doing here. Oops, shifted a little. Okay, so now we at least have that in there. Okay, but you would miss them, you know, if you didn't know what they were. I think I talked about the notches in the video. All right. Thanks. I had my eye open for, yeah, in the manufacturer, like, you know, when you buy patterns in the store, Butterick, McCall, Simplicity, Vogue, those are going to have little inverted triangles. And so it does make it, you know, a little easier to follow along. But when you do PDF patterns, they do them a little different. So you have to keep that in mind. All right. And while you are doing this, because, you know, unless you're exactly following along with me, you might miss it. Let's see. You want to, let's this back here. So now we're on number 4. And I'm going to put the lining on the other side. So now we are matching the straighter side up with piece 3. Okay. Well, here we are. Notches matched here. And here. We are, okay, this might be, does that look a little off? All right, and you'll notice when I cut this, you'll see from the other video, you see remnants of the jeans in the pattern pieces. And I did that intentionally because I wanted to show some of that in the corset. Right. What's going on here? This is piece, what number? Good morning, Maria. Welcome, welcome. All right, let me just grab it and see where something happened here. Okay, well, I guess I'm right. I didn't remember that being that way. You know, these notches are so darn important. So maybe it's the other piece. I'm just double checking to make sure that I did not do something wrong. Nope. That's it. It's just I'm off a little. So I'm going to make the adjustment here. All right, I'm still going to pin vertically. And we will be bringing this together as we sew. Now there are instructions on the website when you download the pattern. In my opinion, they are not the most clear. And I feel like a video is just a little better. I do. All right, I'm going to turn those out. And now we are ready to add piece 5. Okay, piece 5 is this bigger, wider piece here. Okay. And this one is pretty easy to know which side to match it up with because it follows the same shape here. So we're gonna put that there. And then we'll match our notches. Right there. I actually like that little leftover pocket down at the bottom. I used one pair of jeans for the corset, and in some places it had to overlap on the pocket or something else. And we just went with it. All right. So we ended up with this on like one side. So that's okay. All right. This is 6. That's 6, yep. So we'll put 6 on here. I'm going to just check to see if there's anybody else that joined. Good morning, Debbie. Welcome. All right. We are, for those of you that just joined, this is the continuation of the video that I uploaded. I think it was like last Sunday. This was the corset by Mood. And it's a free pattern, but it will cost you because paper costs and ink cartridges cost. But, you know, hopefully if you do the math, it comes out a little less than having to go to the store and buy a $30 pattern, because a lot of these patterns are $30. And that's quite expensive. Quite expensive. In fact, the other one that I was considering, the one that we talked about initially, I think that one was $30. There is another one that I am planning to work on soon because I really want to do a corset that has the cups in it, and it's this one. This one actually has hooks down the front. I'm going to use this one. I bought a skirt from Urban Revival last year, and the skirt didn't fit. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I need to return. There's a couple things that I needed to return. And they told me to just keep the skirt because I guess whatever was going on. I returned everything else, but they didn't include the skirt in the return. So anyway, I have two skirts, and the one skirt I absolutely cannot wear, but the fabric is so good. I mean, it's like this heavy, it feels like a heavyweight denim, but I think it's like a twill, and the color is so beautiful. So I'm just going to cut up the skirt, and I'm going to make the corset from this. I'm going to make the corset from using this pattern, and I'll show you guys when I do it. Sorry, you guys. Somebody keeps calling me. But this will be the other one. But for now, we're using the free pattern from Mood. And if you haven't downloaded it already, the link is in the description. Feel free to download it, cut it out, and follow along with me. Okay? This is our sew along for the month. All right, let's get back to it. So now we're on piece number 6. And let's get the pin out of here. Move that over. And then let's see, 6 and then 7 is the final piece. That is, just going to make sure that I do this correctly, because when I sewed the sample, I did not. I had to take it loose, do it over. Let's mark 7. All right. So this is going to go here. And this one is going to go that way. So where you have the multiple notches together, that piece goes there. And again, you can see where I missed cutting my notches on the other side. All right, let me just let her know. She's called me 3 times now. Now I'm beginning to think it's an emergency. So I'm just gonna let her know we are in class. All right, here we go. That's one side. And then we're gonna come over to the other side. And that's it. I know this seems like a lot, but truly, this pattern is really good. It really is. Oh, that's my dog sneezing. And by the way, those of you who have been around for a minute, Jax had all of his teeth pulled last month or so ago, maybe like 8 weeks, and he is doing really well. He eats normally, has no problems at all. Okay, so this is here, and this one goes this way. Okay. He'll be 13 in April. That's my little old man. There we go. All right, you guys, we are getting close to being able to start sewing. I would say this project, if you sew it all the way through, it's probably going to take you about 5 hours. If you did it nonstop, it would be about 5 hours. All right, so here we have the entire corset. Let's see. Hey, Divalicious Living. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, Diva Status. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see how we're looking on time. All right, we've got about 30 more minutes. Okay, I'm going to go until 9:15 on this, and then I will finish up offline and you all can follow the video. But I definitely wanted you all to see how I pin everything together. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'll put this here. All right. Now I can see what I'm doing. I don't have to look over my shoulder. But this is the full corset pinned together. So what I like to do is start from one end and work my way. Let's start from this side. I'm going to turn this around. Turn my camera on. And basically what we're doing with this is the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing you're going to do with your interfacing or buckram and with your lining. It's the exact same thing. So when I do the video, when I post the part 2 of the video, you will see me put all 3 pieces together, sew them up. Well, put the pieces, before I put them together, I will press the seams open. We are going to press seams open in this video today, but you'll watch me press the seams open, sandwich all the pieces together, sew them all the way around, put the grommets in, get some kind of ribbon, or I'm not sure what I'm going to use. I've been thinking about how I'm going to tie this together in the back, and I haven't decided if I want to use denim or do I want to use ribbon. I haven't decided yet. You'll find that out in the video. And then also, if you feel like you need more corset for coverage, say you put the corset on and you have a big gap in the back, you can add another strip to the back, another strip of denim or what have you. You can add that to the back to give yourself more, or you can make this back piece a little longer, and that will give you the coverage in the back. All right, if anybody is just joining us, we are working on the free mood pattern, Cerise, Cerise. All right, so important thing to keep in mind during this project, important to keep in mind when you're sewing is that your seam allowances on the corset are 3/8 of an inch. All right, so I'm going to show you. Here's my seam gauge. This is 1 inch, right where the blue marker is, okay? This is a 1/2 inch or 4/8 right here. Oops. Okay. And then, so this is 1, 2, 3. That's where you want to be. That is what your seam allowance is. Okay. If you want to check it on your machine so that you know exactly where you're supposed to be, take the edge of that seam gauge, bring that needle down to where it's supposed to be, and look at where your blue marker is. And for me, this line right here is my 3/8 of an inch. So that's where the edge of my fabric is going to go. I'm going to line that up. Now my machine automatically does a lock stitch, so I don't have to back stitch. We're just going to take pins out as we go. And then I just did a back stitch at the end. And one down. Okay. I'm just going to cut this extra fabric off. This was where the pocket was. Just going to take that off. I'm going to start here. I did a back stitch that time because sometimes when I do the lock stitch, it doesn't, I don't end up right at the end edge of the fabric, and I want to make sure that I go all the way to the end. And my machine also cuts the thread as well. So I don't have to do that part, which is really nice. If anybody's interested in this machine, I will link the information below. This is the first machine I ever bought in my life. All the machines that I ever owned either belonged to someone else. They were hand-me-downs. I received one as a gift at some point, but this was the one that I purchased for myself for my birthday during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, normally on my birthday, I travel somewhere out of the country. And that was the only year that I didn't go anywhere because we couldn't travel. So I bought a sewing machine. It was the first one. And I've never had a digital sewing machine. So this one is like super high tech. It does like everything. And I felt like, you know what? I should have this. It is the Husqvarna Opal 690 Q. And we like it. When you get to this point of sewing the corset and there's that little dip in the waistline, make sure you get that dip because that's going to give you that nice shape. Don't shortchange yourself on the curves. All right. We are still going. We are still going. If you just joined, hey, 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 good morning. Happy Saturday morning. We are This is the sew along. This is not normally what I'm gonna do on Saturday mornings, but I wanted to do a little sew along with you all so that we could work on sewing a corset together. Normally these Saturday mornings are just, maybe I'm working on the upcycle, maybe it's a chit chat, depends. But I won't always be sewing on Saturday morning. In fact, one of these Saturday mornings, I'm taking you guys thrifting. So we started last Sunday using the free mood pattern, corset pattern, Cerise, Cerise. All you need to do is print it out and cut it out. And it's all yours. There are some instructions on the website, but in my opinion, they're not really thorough. And so that's part of the reason that I'm creating this with you guys. Make sure you get in this curve here. So if you're just joining, put your name in the chat box and say good morning. Tell me where you're from. If you all are working on any projects, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up before you leave. But this is my sew along, and I'd like to do sew alongs like at least once a quarter. Can't do them every month, but once a quarter, I think we'll try to do that. And I think the next sew along probably be in like late, probably May. And it'll probably be that jacket. I'll show it to you guys when we get off, so you guys can get the pattern if you want. But I want to make that out of denim. This one's a little more complex than a corset, but this is the pattern that will make second quarter, which will be like April or May. Okay. I love this. I think this is so nice. And I feel like you can wear this in the spring. You could wear it in the fall. Depending on the fabric, it might be too heavy to wear in the summer, but it also depends on where you live. And again, the fabric. But I think this is going to be so nice in a denim, like kind of a patchwork. I can't wait to make this one. So that's the next one. I will make sure that you all have all that information. Let's keep going because I definitely want to get to the pressing. And then, yes, we've got about 15 more minutes. Feminine, were you able to get the Bukram? I know you were getting supplies. I don't know if you were able to get it. I was not able to find Bukram in any of the fabric stores. So I ended up using a very heavyweight interfacing. We are almost there. We are almost there. Let's see, hang on a second. Okay. Sorry. I am always at work. My job was sending me a message earlier today. Okay. All right. So brought my items in this morning. I purchased a meat. Oh, good, good, good. All right. So I opted not to get the fusible interfacing. And so I'll tell you why while I'm sewing. Let me not stop and get sidetracked. And this will help you with the fusible interfacing that you have. So what you want to do is, since you got fusible, you want to fuse it to your lining, not the fabric. Okay. I purchased the non-fusible heavyweight interfacing because sometimes the fusible interfacing tends to buckle during washing, dry cleaning, and so that's why I went with the non-fusible. So my suggestion is you fuse it to your lining so that if you do get any buckling or any issues, you can't see it. It'll be completely hidden. All right. It's okay. It's okay. You just want to fuse it to your lining. That's the only thing. I wouldn't fuse it to your denim, or it's just one of those things. If you ever look at men's suits that have that kind of like they look kind of wrinkly, not the fabric is wrinkly, but you can see like little ripples in the fabric, and you kind of wonder what that is. That's because they used a fusible interfacing and attached that to the fabric. It should be attached to the lining, or it should not be fusible at all. Okay. Again, you can still use it. You're going to still get, I still think it's good. But when you buy a fusible interfacing, if it is woven like these are, so what you got is probably the same thing that I have, except it's fusible. And I'm going to just show this to you guys up close. You can see the threads woven in here. Okay. So that is a woven interfacing. When you buy a woven interfacing, you have to, well, I don't know if it's still the same way it used to be back in the day when I first started sewing. I'd have to do some research on it. But I used to have to pre-shrink this stuff before I used it. I'm not doing that now because I'm not pre-shrinking the cotton lining. I'm not doing any of that. And when I need to clean this, I'm going to dry clean it. I don't want to be bothered with having to deal with that because I wear these corsets a lot, and I don't want to have to deal with the headache of that. Thanks for the tip. I got preset D-ring ribbons for the lace. Oh, good. I was trying to go the easy route. Okay, nice. I'm going to use grommets in the back because that's just my preference, but you can absolutely use D-rings. You can also buttons. You can use loops. You can use ties. Absolutely don't limit yourself. Anybody that's creating this, don't limit yourself. Make it, customize it to your preference and to your sewing level. If you want to do something a little different, by all means, please do. Okay. All right. That was actually the reason that she was calling me, was kind of an emergency. So I just hope everything is okay. I know I'm going really fast, but I want to get to the pressing because I feel like that's an important piece. And I feel like if you all can get this done on the fabric, on the interfacing and lining together, and then on the and then gets through the pressing, by the time I get the video up, you all will be ready for the next steps. I really like this pocket remnant here. I wish I had gotten it on both sides. All right, and we are on the last seam, you guys, the last seam. All right, if you've got any questions, please put them in the chat because we are only going to be here for about 5 to 10 more minutes. Oops. Uh-oh, what was that? Oh, something fell in the sink. Okay, so here we go. This is our denim top. I like that. I wish I had done that on both sides. Okay, let's go over to the ironing board. All right, we just turned the iron on. I'll bring you guys over here with me. Okay. let's bring the the ironing board onto the stage. If you want a recommendation for a very good iron, I strongly recommend the Rowenta. It's the iron that I've always used, and the one that I use is, and this is a newer one, but this is the Pro Master. It's kind of a mid grade. I have a heavy duty one in my storage. I probably need to pull it out because, you know, when you don't use these things, that can be problematic. But I love the Rowenta iron. It is amazing. Um, a good iron goes a long way, you guys. All right, so we're gonna press these seams open and I'm gonna show you a little trick. Hang on a minute. All right. You guys remember this? Does anybody have one of those? This was my grandmother's, okay? This was my grandmother's sleeve, pressing sleeve. It is so old, but it still does the trick. And I'm going to show you something that I think you can apply when you're sewing any outfit, but in particular, the corset that we have here. Okay, I'm going to start here on the end, and we are going to, let me just, have to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, we are going all right, I was going to try to do full screen, but then I realized you guys won't be able to hear me. So we're going to open up the seam and we're going to press down. Okay. If you're using denim, you can hold the iron down a lot longer because the fabric can handle it. Once you've done that, put that on top and hold it there. Don't move it. Don't move it back and forth. Don't move it up and down. Just hold it in place. Okay. Give it a few seconds and then lift it up. All right. Then you're going to go on to the next seam, which has a bit of a curve in it. So I would go up to the curve portion and then I would put that down and just hold it in place. And you're going to do that throughout the entire top. Look at how nice that looks. Look at how professional that looks. You guys, I cannot stress enough how important that is. The pressing. Okay, put that down. Just like that. Okay. All right. Any questions? I'm going to finish up off camera, well, off live, and I will be recording me pressing. I'll be recording me sewing parts of the interfacing and lining, and then putting it together, and I will be installing grommets in the back. Okay, we will have grommets in the back. All right, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed that little sew along. Suggestions for substitute for the grommets. You can use the D-rings. I think you said you got D-rings. Preset D-ring ribbons. Oh, that's nice. So you can just put those in there and hook them together, or not hook them together. Put the ribbon through the weight. Oh, you can use a pressing ham. You can use a book. You can use uh you can use a cast iron. Let me show you what I have. I have a mini a mini cast iron skillet. I think I've only used this once, but it's very heavy. You just need something with some weight to lay it on top because that's a light piece. That arm, that sleeve arm, presser arm is very light, but I was pressing it down. If you have anything made out of wood, you can put that on top because the wood will absorb the heat. Yeah. Hi, DJ Queen. Oh, this isn't even, honestly, this is not, it's not a weight. It's really light. It's just a sleeve arm, pressing sleeve arm. It's really old. They don't look like this anymore when they sell them in the store. They don't they don't look like this. This again, this was my grandmother's. So it is so old. They don't make it with this covering or anything. And I do have one of the newer ones in my closet, but I just didn't want to take up time to do that. So again, you can use a piece of wood, you can use a cast iron skillet, you can use a book. I've used books. Hi, 10 Speed Queen. I've used a book to press down on it. You guys are all coming in now. You can. I will link some. In fact, if you go to my LTK store, I have a whole section on sewing supplies, irons, ironing boards, sewing machines, all in there. I will link it. I will link it. Do you guys want to stay on a little longer? Let me know in the comments. I just need to step away for a few minutes to make a quick work call. But if you want to stay on a little longer, I can stay. Just let me know. I will keep pressing and I will keep sewing. Just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'm going to end it. What did you miss? So last Sunday, I think it was last Sunday, I started a sew along creating the mood pattern, free pattern, PDF pattern that you print out at home. It's called the Cerise Corset. And okay, you want to stay on. All right, you guys, I'm going to go mute it for a moment. I'm going to take this phone call from work. And when I come back, I'm going to talk about what we've been working on. But in the meantime, if you haven't already, you can scroll up in the chat. Let me see if I can maybe put it here. Nope. Let's see. Let me get the link. You can check out this link. This is last week's video. And I also created a short. And the short, let's see. Okay. So here's the short. So this is pretty much what you guys missed. The short is the short fast forwards you through what we did this morning. Okay. So I put the short in there in the video. I'm going to mute and I'll be right back. All right, you guys, I am back. So sorry, that took a little longer than what I anticipated. All right, we're gonna finish pressing and let's see if we have any questions. Please show what the arm sleeve looks like at the store. Let's see. Let me show you. The one that I have is, I think it's down in my storage cabinet in my garage, but let me show you a picture of what it looks like nowadays. uh, it looks like, so this is an option. One option, and all my stuff, I apologize, is downstairs, but one option looks like this. Okay. It's a sleeve, it's an arm sleeve board, and some of them are collapsible. This is also in my LTK store. I'll give you a link so that you can access all of this. And let me show you how they have recreated this one. Either one you can use. Either one is going to be nice enough and good enough to use for pressing. Okay. The other one looks like it's round and it's short. And it's fine. I mean, I use it. You can also use a pressing ham. Does anybody have a pressing ham? You can also use a pressing ham. These are really good. I'm going to show you how to use the pressing ham on the corset. So I pulled this out for you, but let me show you. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. This is the way they're making them nowadays. That sounds so old. They look like this. Okay. See, that's also in my LTK store. Sometimes you can buy the sleeve roll, and I apologize, I used the wrong name on it. Sleeve roll, or you can use the ham, or you can use the sleeve board. Any one of those will work. It also comes in another color. You'll see all of this. It also comes with a little blue plaid or the red plaid, whatever you like. Okay. So you can use this. You use the ham. I am going to show you how to use this ham momentarily. So let's go back over to our corset. Oh, iron cool down. I've seen them before, just didn't know what it was. Yeah, those are seam rolls or sleeve rolls. They're really nice for ironing sleeves when you can't get inside and the sleeve can't fit on the ironing board. You stick this in there and you can steam on it. You can also, with the sleeve board, is nice too, because at the top of the sleeve board, it's curved, and you can put that all the way up into the sleeve and press the seam that goes across the shoulder. So just another way to get a more professional look and professional finish to your pieces. Yep. No. What were you saying no to? You're welcome. Oh, can it be made? Absolutely. It can be made. If you've got, I have tons of scrap fabric. I have made these before, like back in the day when I was sewing and I didn't have access to these things or couldn't afford. These things used to be so expensive. The sleeve or seam roll is about $15, but I remember that was a lot a long time ago. That was a lot, but you can create something like this. You can take a piece of muslin and sew it down on each side, close up the top, and stuff fabric in there, but stuff it in there until it is good and solid. I wouldn't use like stuffing or, like the bags that you can buy in the store where you can buy the filling. I wouldn't use that. I would use fabric. I would use denim. I would use something that has some strength to it, and I would stuff that in there as tight as you can get it, and then I would sew it up on the other end. And you could definitely create something like this. I have no idea what's on the inside of here. I just know that it's stiff, it's really stiff. Okay. And this is really stiff too. Like this one is really hard. This one is harder than this. But I don't know what's in here. Yeah. Maybe I have so many of these. I think I have one that's still in the package. I might be one of the giveaways. We've got to pull a name today. Remember I told you guys I was going to pull a name for the giveaway. You have to be subscribed to the newsletter. As long as you're subscribed to the newsletter, you're automatically entered in the giveaway. And last month's giveaway, the winner did not respond to my email. I hope it didn't go to spam. I'm going to keep trying to reach her. Or him, I'm not sure. But yeah, they didn't respond. So as long as you subscribe to the newsletter, janrestylefashion.blog, then you are automatically entered, and maybe we will give away a seam roll and a ham this month. It's like I told you, I have at least 3 of them in my storage unit. And that's because I was teaching classes right before the pandemic. I'm just going over the bottoms, and then I'm going to show you how to use that ham up near the top. But that's why I have so many sewing supplies, because of the classes. You guys can still see. You all see? Yep. Okay. Since those were so close to each other, I'm trying to press them simultaneously so that I don't mess up. See how nice of a finish that leaves you with? I mean, it really makes a difference. Any questions? Are you still... The only classes that I'm teaching now are if I do one-on-one classes here on YouTube. If you sign up for the top level, then you get sewing classes with me twice a month. And if you have questions during the week, you can send those questions to me, and I'll answer. I work around your schedule. So whatever time works for you, we do sewing classes. But that's the only thing that I'm doing. I'm not doing any in person right now. I would love to, but that would mean that I would probably have to stop doing the lives. And I don't really want to stop doing the lives. I really enjoy doing the lives. I really enjoy doing these lives on the last Saturday of the month. And the in-person classes were every Saturday, and that was just really tough. I do need my Saturday mornings to sew because I work, and I need to sew on the weekend. So that's when I can create content and stuff on the weekends. All right, we are almost done here at the bottom. So you use that point of the iron to stay in the seam ditch. Okay. Put that on there for a minute. Questions could, yes, I will give you the link. It should be in the description, but let me, all right, here we go. There are 3 levels that you can sign up. And again, the top level is the one-on-one sewing classes. The first level, you get access to the videos. Usually, I try to do them like 4 or 5 days in advance before they go public, but I also do a couple of members only videos during the month, and it's either behind the scenes footage or it is projects that I'm working on that I don't plan to release anytime soon. Like, for example, there is a jacket with a design on it that we're probably going to do in our next one. But that's also 2 different levels. So the first level, you get access to the videos in advance. You get the members only videos. And then there's something else that goes into that first level. And everybody in the members only, regardless of what level, you also are entered in a separate giveaway each month. And then the second level, we actually have online live upcycling sessions every month. And it's usually the last Wednesday of each month. So this past Wednesday, we had a class, but it's the last Wednesday of each month. And we get on here live where I can actually see you. We're working on projects, sharing ideas. So just building a community that way, it's really a lot of fun. And I love to see what you guys are working on. So if anybody has tried any of the projects that I've talked about on this channel, definitely email photos to me because I want to be able to share those. All right, so let me show you how to use this ham the right way. All right, so here is the center section of the corset. And you have these 2 curved areas here for the bust. So I'm going to slide this ham up underneath on this curve. I'm actually going to turn it a little bit so that the curve of the ham mimics the curve of the corset. Okay. Just got to find a space that is going to make that curve. All right, there we go. Right? And I'm going to take the iron and I'm going to go right on top of there. Okay. And then I'm going to take the sleeve roll. I'm just going to lay it on top to hold it in place. I don't know if you all could hear that steam. I know you could definitely see the steam coming out. And so now, when I turn this over, I have a nice, smooth curve in the front of my corset. So it's nice and it's shaped. Now, if I was trying to press this flat, this would press flat and it would not have the curve. So I would strongly suggest, if you don't have a ham, take a towel and fold it, wrap it around, get it as tight as you can. Maybe use some safety pins and take that towel and put it up underneath the curve of that bust portion of the corset or dress or any princess seam that you may be sewing, and press it the same way. So again, a feminine to your question, can it be made? You can also substitute with a towel. So if you are maybe don't have the time to create that and you're trying to get this done, a towel will suffice. Just make sure that you shape that towel into some kind of curve or ball so that you can put it up underneath there and get that curve. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. I'm going to flip this back over and we're going to do the curve right next to it, which is right here. Okay, put it right on top of there. I'm opening it up with my fingers, laying it flat, and then I'm going to take the iron and just follow that seam around. See all that good steam coming out? Get yourself an iron with good steam, y'all. Don't mess around. If you're trying to really be serious about sewing and you want a professional look and quality to your pieces, get yourself a good iron with good steam. All the irons are in my LTK store. Welcome, 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 DJ Queen. Yeah, you just signed up. All right. So we are doing an all member live on, I believe it's next week. I haven't announced it yet because I was looking for a date. So we will probably do an all member live on So we have our second level live scheduled for the 29th. That's Wednesday. So we'll do the all excuse me. We'll do the all member live on January 28th. That is Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Central. I will post it in the members only section. If you are a member on any level, doesn't matter. We're going to do a live because we got stuff to talk about. All right, let's keep going. Now this curve is more, well, this is not really on a curve. The curve is only there. This isn't really, I'm looking at this. I'm just going to press this flat. Did y'all see that? My iron just fell off the table. And I caught it by the cord. And I will tell you, this iron came to me damaged, and I called Rowenta, sent it to them free of charge. They fixed it and sent it back to me, and it has worked amazing. Strongly recommend. No, this is not sponsored by Rowenta, but all I can say is I attest to how good their irons are, and that's what I've been sewing with. All right, let's get some steam. Hold on one moment. Hey guys, that was my office calling back, but I was pressing at the same time. And I'm sure yours will turn out really good. I'm positive. This is really an easy pattern. Could you guys not hear me? Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I didn't realize I was muted. All right. How about now? Okay, good. All right. So what I was saying, feminine, I'm sure that it is going to turn out just fine. I think it's going to be just fine. This pattern was surprisingly easy to use. I did not just trying to okay. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a little more difficult, but it was not. This is the second time that I'm doing it. And I see where I went wrong at the front, but that's fine because all of that will work itself out when I put the lining on top. It's definitely easier than the pattern that we were going to use initially. And again, I made that mistake of thinking that we were going to use one pattern. It would have required you guys to go out and spend unnecessary money on all these different kind of fabrics. And I really wanted this to be as much of an upcycle as possible. So I didn't want you all to have to go out and, buy fabric and do all of that. It's just not necessary. But you see how you have a nice curve in there because of how we pressed it. So that's going to be good. So this part is done. Okay. So now we've got to work on um, the lining and the buckram. So let's go back over here. Let's see if we can kill two birds with one stone. All right. Let's see. Bring us back over. Okay. All right, now I'm going to bring the sewing machine and table back on screen. And we will now work on the lining and the buckram or the heavyweight interfacing. Okay. So we start with our piece in the middle. And this is the way, if you've purchased fusible interfacing or fusible Bukram, this is the process you should use. You should be fusing that Bukram or that interfacing to the lining. We're going to start with 3, 2, 4. Just trying to get them all in order. 5. All right, so we have this piece here. I'm going to put that right there on top. So it looks like my cutting is a little off, but this is this way. All right, and then 2 is here. 2, and then we got to find 2 in here. So this part is a process right here. This is going to take some time. And I encourage you to sew these together to reduce the amount of bulk that's on the inside. Change where I put the pins. If you try to do this separately, it's going to be a lot of work and it will be bulky. Now, this Bukram or heavyweight interfacing is really more about structure. This is to really give the corset that strong structure. Now, without it, and I need to check if this pattern called for boning, because honestly, I don't think you need both, but we'll see. I am going to use the boning. You know what, on second thought, I'm going to use the boning. I'm not going to skip out on that because you just need it. So it looks like when I cut the Bukram or the heavy interfacing that I was a little off there. So now I'm just trying to match up these notches correctly. Okay. Now you all see this is, oh, I didn't do this one. Okay. All right, so now we go to number 3. I wonder if I should go ahead and sew or should I do it all together? What do y'all think? This stuff is so stiff. It's really like paper. All right, so now we have number 3. and 3. It did. I got it too. Okay, just that fast. I forgot what I said. Hmm. All right. So we're just lining up these notches. You guys are really hanging in there. Okay. All right. Okay, so I am still pinning. Now you might notice that one side might have a little extra like fabric. It might feel like it's not meeting up correctly. And I wouldn't worry about it too much. What you want to do though, I can get you. All right, what you want to do when you get ready to sew, the side that has a little extra where it feels like maybe it's not matching up completely, you want to sew with that part down, because what's going to happen is your feed dogs are going to help you in most cases. So for me, my feed dogs tend to pull more at the bottom, just ever so slightly, just enough to take up this little bit of extra fabric that's in the back. It's not a lot. It might be maybe like 1/8 of an inch, but sometimes that makes a difference. So you have just a little bit in here. The pattern has a certain amount of ease in it. So when you take your measurements and decide what size you're going to make, it is accounting for you being able to move around in that garment, you being able to reach your arm up or move around. So that's already accounted for. So don't feel like you need to go bigger. Don't feel like you need to make other adjustments. Make the size that you fit into. All right. So now we're going to go to piece 4. Piece 4. And I'm glad I made these little marks for my notches. All right. So we're going to match piece 4 up there. 4 over here. And piece 4 here. Now what I'm noticing is that my Bukram pieces are a little longer and wider than my fabric. So I am not following, I'm following the fabric notches and sizes, not the Bukram. So that's why it might look a little bit off to you. I'm going with the fabric, and the Bukram might be off just because it is thicker and is harder to move around. But I'm depending on the fabric being cut correctly more so than the Bukram. All right, so that's 4 and 4. Okay, those are my notch dots. They match up perfectly. And then this piece goes on top. See, no notch on there. All right, you guys. Oh, this is probably the longest video ever that I've done. I hope you guys are getting something from this. I'm trying to give you little tips and tricks on how to make it look good. I'm just folding this back so that it lays a little flatter so that I can actually get to it better. Okay, so now we're going to 5, number 5. Five is easy because it has that little shape to it. All right, 5. All right, that's okay. All right. And I really want to see these if you guys make it and finish it. I want to see them. If you watch the first video, you'll see that I think I put it in the video. I hope I did. Tell me if I did, those that watched it. I created a skirt. And the skirt is similar to a skirt that I made last year. It's a super, super easy skirt. Y'all, it's the easiest skirt you'll ever make. But I made a skirt to go with this. I think it's going to be really nice. Anyway, the skirt is made from another pair of denim jeans. I'm looking for piece 6 right now. And it's made out of the same dark denim. And I bought some zippers from the textile outlet, which I'm taking you guys to next week. And I think this skirt is just going to turn out really, really nice. And I love that it's the dark denim. Okay, now I have to remember. This is the top. This is the top. That's the top. Okay, this is always the piece that gets me messed up. All right, so, and because I didn't do my notches correctly, there we go. That one goes there. If you are unsure about where to lay your pieces, the first page that you printed out lays them out side by side, and they're literally in order. So piece one is attached to two, piece two is attached to three, piece three is attached to four, four to five, five to six, six to seven. But you might be confused as to which way to connect them. As long as you've cut your notches and you look at the diagram, you shouldn't have a problem. But just in case, definitely reference that. Definitely reference that sheet. It's going to help you a ton. Again, I am matching up the fabric because the Bukram is not quite 100%. Okay. Y'all, we're almost done. We have piece 7 to attach. Oh no, I didn't do it. Did I? Wait. What's happening here? Why do I have an extra piece? 6, 7. 5. Okay. 1. This is my extra for my other corset that I'm making out of the other fabric. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, great. Just making sure, and 7. So when you see me in the video creating the other corset, I'm just going to stick a card in there instead of showing you the entire process. I'll do like a time-lapse video of me pulling it together, but I will not be showing this entire process because we've already done it. And it will be embedded in a different video. I mean, it'll be embedded in like another video that I'm working on. So you'll just see that as part of, my week of sewing. Could you use clamps? Absolutely. You could. I do use clamps when I sew sometimes, but let me match this up instead. But that probably would have been easier. I don't know what I did with my clamps. They're somewhere around here. I'm in the process of cleaning out my sewing room, you guys. So I literally pulled everything out and dumped it in my living room. My living room looks like a train wreck. It literally looks like a train wreck. That's why that didn't match up, because I had it turned on the wrong side. Anyway, the clamps are around here somewhere. They are linked in my LTK store if anybody's interested in using the little clips or clamps to sew with. Sometimes that makes it a little easier when you just clamp the fabric together, depending on what you're sewing. Now, if you're sewing something that is slippery, like a chiffon or a silk or a satin, you might find the pins are going to work better. Might not be ideal, but you might find that that they work a little better. For this, since I don't have my hands on my clips, and yes, they are better for not sticking. I stick myself all the time. My finger is always bleeding. I am always sticking myself. All right, so there we go. Voila! Voila! All right. Let's position you so you can see a little better what I'm doing here. Let's get some light. All right, we got some light. We can really see. All right. Oops. All right, let's start. Yay. Yay is right, man, you know? All right. So I'm going to flip this over and trying to do double duty here, you all. Oh no, my needle, the thread came out. All right, I have an automatic threader, so it makes my life so much easier. Okay. We're gonna do the same thing as before. Again, I am matching up. I'm concentrating on matching up the fabric, not the Bukram or interfacing. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, 6, 5 to 4. Let's see. I need to automate. Well, you know, a lot of the newer machines have the automatic threader, needle threader. A lot of them do. You know, this is new technology in the last, I don't know, maybe 20 years or so. But there was no way that I was getting a machine that didn't automatically thread my needle. Like I said, I had never bought a new machine. I've been sewing since I was 9. And every machine I ever used either was gifted to me or given to me when somebody didn't want it. So by the time, you know, I'm a grown adult, I knew what I wanted in a machine. And I knew that by spending, you know, if you're going to spend a lot of money on a sewing machine, which I don't recommend right out the box, but if you are going to spend that kind of money, you need to know that you are going to use it. Like I tell you guys, when you're looking at sewing machines, and I will do a sewing machine video, but I tell you, you know, don't spend more than $300. If you're just starting, you can get everything that you need with a $300 sewing machine or less. Check the sales, check Amazon, check Joann's. I have linked to my favorites and a few that I own. I have several machines. And I love the Brother. I love the Singer Heavy Duty. And I think the Brother has the automatic threader as well. I think the heavy duty one has it too. But you can get everything you need. You get a free arm. This machine has, I bought this extra, but see, I got a free arm. So if I need to sew a sleeve, I can just pull that off. But I love this wide base. And this is after years of sewing, knowing that I need that. You may not. So again, I wouldn't recommend this machine for somebody just starting out. But I do have my recommendations in there. LTK is linked below in the description box. And everything that I talk about, even when I'm shopping at the thrift stores. Whoops. Even when I am shopping at the thrift stores, I try to find pieces on the pre-loved market or new. Okay. I thought I was off. I try to find those pieces for you so you all don't have to look for them. You can find some alternatives right there. And then I have a whole section on upcycling supplies. All right. So the first thing I'm noticing and remembering from working with this material in the past, this stuff moves around on the sewing machine. So just know this is going to be sliding. I don't sew well, so I think mine has its fingers crossed. Oh. So this is sliding. So it's going to be really important for you to hold the fabric in place because the interfacing it's really smooth and slick. See how it's sliding? And even when I backstitch, it backstitched into the seam because it's just slippery. All right, let's see. Should we start this way? It's coming together, you guys. Look at that. Woohoo! What time is it? It's 10:30. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up soon. All right. Any questions? Yay. Okay. Did I miss anybody? Oh, you said determined to remake and make your clothes. That's wonderful. Can't wait to get to this point. Right now, I'm just watching. Okay. That's good. That's how I learned. I learned by watching. My great grandmother was the only seamstress in my family who would let me sit and watch her. Now, my great grandmother sewed, my grandmother sewed, my mother sewed. None of them wanted to be bothered with me. Not one. My grandmother didn't have the patience. She was just like, I'll take you to the fabric store, but I'm not going to do that. My mother didn't want me to sew. She was like, you don't need to do this. I'm sewing everything for you. She made all of my costumes for plays, all of my Halloween costumes. She upcycled outfits for me to wear for my birthday. Hated it. But the only person that would sit with me and let me sit with them was my great grandmother. And when she saw that I was serious about it, she's like, okay, go get yourself a pattern and I'll show you how to cut it out and I'll show you how to do everything. And she taught me. And I will forever be grateful for that because I will forever be grateful. Because I would never have known that I had that ability. But I was so intrigued by what she was doing. She went off again. She made couture dresses with all this beading, and I mean, they were so intricate and they were just beautiful. I had never seen anything like that except for in the store. And to see that you could create that at home, I was like, oh, heck yeah, I'm learning this. One more seam and we are done. Ta-da! All right, so now that part is done. Okay. Whew. All right, let's get back over to the iron. Now I'm tired. I need a break. All right, let's see. Let's move over here. This is looking good. This is looking really good. It's nice and stiff. I still feel like I want to put the boning in though. You know, oh, let me show you you guys get a sneak peek into what the other one is going to look like. So this is the skirt from Urban Revival. Now this skirt is so cute. It's so nice. Look at it. It's beautiful colors in it. It buttons down the front. It's linked in my LTK store in case you want to buy it, but size up. All right. I normally wear between a 4 and a 6, probably closer to a 6 now because I put on some weight. But I thought I was getting a small, and they sent me a 2. I can't do anything with a 2. Like nothing. I could not close it up. So anyway, this is the skirt that I'm going to cut up to create the other corset. So the other skirt obviously is exactly like this, but I think it'll be so nice with a corset matching corset with it. Anyway, I love this skirt. It's got splits in it. So when you walk, I can't wait to wear it. And I want to wear it with the corset. I debated on whether or not I was going to make like a bolero or do something where I mixed denim with this, and I still might, because I want to see if maybe I can get like a shrug or something. I don't know. I got to think about it, but I got to get it done soon because it'll be spring. And this is really heavy. This is a really heavy, like twill fabric, but it's lovely. It's lovely. Thank you. I love this skirt, y'all. I love it. I'm so glad I got it. And it's got this matching belt. Just all of it. It's just really, really nice. Anyway, that is what the other corset is going to be made out of. Please use the boning. Yes. Doesn't matter. I would love to see. Yes, yes, yes. So the boning. All right, let me press, and then we're gonna talk boning. All right. So let's do this. I think my iron needs more water. The boning can be tricky. There's a couple different ways you can do it. Yeah, there's a couple ways. That you can do the boning. And let's see. We have to make that decision now. All right, because the seam allowances are so small, we're going to sew the boning onto the lining and the buckram on the inside, so on the wrong side. If we had regular seam allowances like 5/8 of an inch, I would lay these seam allowances to the side and press them, and we would slide the boning up in there. but we're not going to do that because these seam allowances are too small and we can't get the boning in there. So we're just going to press the seams open just like we did before. All right, let me know if, oh, all right. I'm trying to make this relatively quick. We're just going to go halfway up on all of these. Boning is important. And I think if you're ever sewing anything and it calls for boning, don't think you can't get around that you can get around not using it. I've bought things from the store that should have had boning in them, and I was so irritated. I've actually had to put boning in garments that didn't come with it. Like I really liked the piece that I bought, but it was so flimsy, it wouldn't hold up. And if you have larger bust, you need all the support you can get. So I was like, let me put some boning in here. All right. Anything else? Okay, just checking with you guys. Sun is finally trying to show its face today. It was so cloudy this morning. All right. All right, these back pieces, you can pretty much go all the way up because they're pretty flat for the most part. Pretty much. So for those that have the fusible interfacing, where you would iron on the fusible interfacing to the lining first, then sew the pieces together. And you'll probably have an easier time because they're stuck together. You see how long it took me to do because I had to lay one piece and then lay the Bukram on top, then lay one piece. And then, so when it's already fused together, it'll be a lot easier. So that's the advantage of using the fusible. You can treat it as one piece. Now, what will be challenging for the fusible interfacing, and I want you to keep this in mind whenever you're sewing, what you want to do is you want to trim down the exposed pieces of the interfacing. So what I mean, you see here, you see how my interfacing extends past the fabric? If this were fusible, all of this glue would be getting stuck on my iron. So what you want to do after you've ironed the interfacing to the lining, before you sew it together, go in and trim this excess off. Just trim it off. Okay? Obviously don't trim off your notches. You can trim off the notches of the interfacing, but not the fabric, okay? Because you still have to sew that together. So cut it as close as you can so that you can't see any of the white. That will lessen the chance of you ending up with glue on your iron. And you do not want glue on your iron. If you get glue on your iron, there is a product. I don't think I have any. I looked through all of my sewing notions the other day and I didn't see any in there. But there's a product that you can use on your iron to get the gunk off. It really cleans it up really nicely. And the iron has to be hot, no steam. And you put this stuff on like a towel or a piece of muslin, and then you take the iron and rub it across it, and it gets all of the sticky glue or whatever. But to avoid that, trim back the interfacing so that it doesn't get stuck. All right, I'm flipping this around. We're going to do the other side. Let me know if you guys have any questions, because I'm probably going to stop. Oops. Oh, that's fine on the other side. I'm probably going to stop after we put a couple pieces of boning in, or at least one piece of boning in. I'm going to treat this the same as I did the fabric. I'm going to go in on the curve, open this up. Because this Bukram is so stiff, it is going to make it challenging to get down in there. So do the best you can. It's not on the outside, but it is important that it lays flat, because you don't want that like buckling bulkiness is what I mean. You don't want that up underneath. Okay. Okay. And then this last curve. This is the curvy curve. Let's see. You are all. Oh, thank you so much. You are very welcome. I look forward to our class. It's going to be good. It is going to be good. All right, we are going to get in here, open that up. Let's start here first. Get that flat. And then curve it around, open it up. Sometimes you have to move these around so that you can get in there. This, I think, is where, yep, let me get really in the curve because that's not supposed to be that small. Get in there. Get in there, Jen. I think I need some more water in the iron. Oh, there we go. I was like, where's the steam? We're going to press that on the other side as well. Just trying to get through here so that we can get this boning in here and we can wrap up. I'm not planning to be on here this long today, you guys. All right. And last two. I'm going to grab the boning. I have two different types of boning. And I'm going to use the kind of webbed boning today in one area, and then I will also use the nylon boning. Okay, that's not horrible. It's not ideal, but it's not horrible. All right. Ta-da! All right, let me make sure that I put shop. Let's see. Whoops. I'm going to show you guys where to find stuff on here. All right, so it's a section called sewing supplies. And let me just, you find everything in there. Add products. Let me just make sure. I am going to copy the link and put it here in the description. So that you guys can find it easily. And I'm always adding more products. Every time I find something that I really like, if I use it and I like it, I will stick it in there. But definitely check it out. All right. What's next? Boning. Let me go grab the boning. All right, we got the boning. We have two different types of boning. So the one that you'll probably find in the stores quite a bit is this regular encased boning. It is nylon on the inside, and there's usually a fabric on the outside. Sometimes you can buy it with just this by itself. Now, if we had larger seam allowances, I would just pull this out and I would create the casing from the seam allowances in the corset. But we don't have that. We have small seam allowances. So we're going to use this in some parts. And then this is also boning. It is more of like a webbed boning. It's still stiff. It's not quite as stiff as the other, but it will still serve the purpose. And it just depends on what you're working on. There is one other type of boning that, in my opinion, is the best, the absolute. Sorry, you guys. Okay. Which one do you have? Do you have this one? This one I like because you can sew right through it with no issues because it has these little openings in it. So you can sew right through it. And it gives shape. But this one definitely is more sturdy. Okay. If you're doing something lightweight, I would use this. But for the denim, we're going to go with this. All right, so let me show you how we are going to put this on. I will do one, and then we're out of here. All right. Let's start in the back. So here is my boning. And you're not going to take the boning all the way to the edge because remember, we have a seam allowance and we don't want the boning inside the seam allowance. So you're going to come down a little lower and let me get one of my tools. All right, so I want to make sure this is a chalk pencil. I love this chalk pencil. It is in my LTK store. Love it, love it, love it. Comes in like 4 different colors. This is a wonderful piece because you can mark and then it brushes off and then it disappears. So you want to at least be below your 3/8 of an inch. And I would venture to say just a little lower. 3/8 is what you are sewing at. So this is 3/8, okay? But I'm gonna come a little bit lower. Same thing at the bottom. You wanna make sure that you are stopping your boning far enough away from the bottom because you do not want it to get caught up in the seam allowance. All right, so here we go, here to here, and then I'm just gonna cut it, okay? And I'm going to, okay, I made a mistake. First thing, you're gonna take the nylon and push it down so that you have some excess of fabric, or the casing rather. You have excess of the casing. Okay. Then you're going to fold that over. That's where the boning starts. And then here is where it ends. What you want is you want to have at least a, you measure it. You want to have at least a half an inch extra on both ends. Okay. So I'm going to push this down a full inch. I'm pushing it. It's a little hard because, right? So I'm going to go down an inch, right? So now the actual boning is right there. I'm going to measure and then I'm going to cut. Okay. And then I'm going to push the boning inside so that I have excess casing on both ends of the boning. Okay. This is going to keep the boning from sliding around because when you sew this down, you're going to stitch across the bottom and stitch across the top, and that will secure the boning in place. Let me know if you got this. Oh, hey, good morning, Gracie. Okay, feminine, yours not enclosed. All right, I'm going to show you. So what you want to do then is you're going to press your seams to one side. I will give you an example of that before we get off. Thank you, Gracie. I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Maria. Oh, yes, you're teaching it. Please do that. And, I'll just tell you guys, I was not encouraged. So like I said, my great grandmother, she taught me. I sat with her. When I got to high school, we still had home ec, those of us, if you are of a certain age, you had home ec. We had sewing and I signed up for it. Now I knew going in that it was going to be a breeze for me. I literally went home with the project, made it that night, came back. I was done for the semester. So I ended up helping the instructor teach the class. And then I took tailoring the next year. And that class I actually learned, because I didn't know anything about tailoring. That's the only tailoring class I've ever had. But I went in there and I did the same thing. In a couple of weeks, I was done with the project. But as I got older and she passed away, I think I was a junior in high school. She passed away, but she had already given me so much. And I wanted to be a fashion designer. I was like, that's what I want to do. But I was not encouraged. So I just say that to say that, one, the time that you all spend together, that is so important. She is the one person in my family. I probably miss her more than anyone. And I was with her less than anyone because obviously my grandmother, she didn't pass away until like 2009. And my mom just passed away like three years ago. But she was the one that made such an impact. And I was 9. So, and I take students in my class starting at 9 years old and up. So 6 is early, but if she's watching you and she's doing like hand sewing and learning how to read patterns, that is so much fun. And if she enjoys it, definitely encourage it, and support it. That's all I can say is we got to let our kids, live their dreams. And that's all I got on that. Okay. So I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you how to do it when you don't have the casing. All right. So I'm taking Is this my piece here or is this my mistake? That's my mistake. Here it is. Ugh. All right, we're going over to the sewing machine. Oh, okay. All right. So now we're here. I'm really just have this other computer over here so you guys can see. All right. So here we, oh, let me put me back in the stage. There we go. All right. So we've got this piece and we're laying it right smack dab in the middle of the seam that's there. And I'm just going to try to pin it as much as I can. It's hard to pin because it's stiff and it's been on that roll, so it wants to pop up. But we're going to do our best to just get it, secure it in place. All right. And now bring the sewing machine over. So first, I'm going to sew the bottom because we want to keep the boning from sliding out. Be careful. Try your best not to sew over the nylon boning because the needle will get stuck and you might break it. Maybe. It's soft, but it's still obviously more stiff than fabric. All right, I'm sorry, you guys. I need to change my battery on the camera. All right, let's get some light, cameras, and action. Literally. All right. So when you're stitching, you want to stitch on the casing where they already have stitching. Okay. I'm going to try to stay on that. Oops, I went off a little bit. Let's get myself back on. Now, this can be tricky because only half of the presser foot is on the boning and the other half is kind of off here to the side. So, yeah, it might be a little shaky for you. But try your best to stay in the middle. The advantage you have is that this is not seam, but we still want it to be right and we still want it to look good because your garments should look as nice on the inside as they do on the outside. Now I'm going to leave the needle down. I'm going to turn and I'm going to stitch across the top. And I'm just going to stitch a couple times. You will find that boning moves around a lot. And you want to secure it at the top and the bottom so that you're not sitting somewhere wearing your outfit and all of a sudden something starts poking you and it's the boning poking out. follow that line all the way down. There we go. All right, first piece of boning secured. Did y'all see what I just did? Oh my gosh. Ah! I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That's what I get for rushing. I'm looking for my seam ripper. Did y'all see that? I'm going to show it to you in just a minute as soon as I find my trusty dusty best friend of a seam ripper. So don't do like me and rush. Okay? Don't do like me and rush. Take your time. It's not a race. Look at that. I sewed right through to the other side. And I can't pull it because it's so close to the edge. Home ec is for a son to sew. After high school, I didn't really have the money to buy a machine, so I wasn't able to continue. So I back over a year ago. Oh, nice. Totes and pillows are great to start with. That's the project that I use. If you all go back to some of my earlier videos, like before during the pandemic, right after the pandemic, I'm sorry, right afterwards, I showed you guys some of the work they were working on, but the beginners class made tote bags. And when I used to teach classes in DC, that's where we started. We started with tote bags. And those are so important because they teach you how to put corners together, how to attach a handle, how to create a handle. Like, tote bags are the best. So, all right. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. All right, we're going over it one more time. This time we'll get... All right, that's one side. And then the other side. I'm a firm believer, you guys, that anything you quote unquote mess up or make a mistake with, you can always fix it. I don't believe in ruined sewing projects. It's not ruined. It's all in how you look at it. All right, so what we're going to do is come back over to the ironing board. Oh, let me show you how this looks. All right, so this is the boning installed. And then on the other side, it does look a little crappy on the other side because I had to take everything out, but You see it's in there really good, and it's nice and stiff. Okay. All right, so we're going to go back over to the ironing board. And I'm going to show you how to put the boning in if you have if you don't have the casing. Okay. No casing. All right. So let's go to the next seam, which is here. So you see we press the seam open, but we're going to press it to one side. So this is in the event that you do not have a casing on your boning. What you're going to do, it's just going to look like this by itself. So I need to make sure that this is going to fit. So if it doesn't, then we'll have to do something else. Okay, it looks, no, probably not. I don't think that's going to fit in there. Let me just see. Because this is, the boning is a little over 1/4 of an inch. You see? And the seam allowance is 3/8. So that really only gives you that little bit to sew. And that's going to make it really tough. So let me see what this feels like trying to sew through it. Give me 1 second. I'm going over to the sewing machine. Let me see how difficult it is to sew through. I think it is difficult, but maybe with the fabric being on top, it might not be. Let's see. Oh, my machine doesn't like it. Nope, it doesn't like it. However, so this is what I suggest, Feminine. This is what I suggest that you do. I suggest that you use some additional fabric and you make yourself some strips. Okay, I'm going to do this very quickly so that we can wrap up. So this is just a piece of muslin. All right. Let me come over here and show you. This is just a piece of muslin. I use this to make my samples. I am going to create a strip that is, let's see, a little over 1 inch wide. Okay. And I am going to take that. Let's see where I tried to stitch it on there. It did not. It did not like me trying to stitch through this boning. Could I do it on my industrial machine? Probably so, but most of you all are not using industrial machines, so I'm not going to show you things that are exclusive to industrial machines. All right, so I would take my boning, lay it down on top, take this strip, put it on top, and treat it as a casing. Okay. What you'll need to do is make sure that you're stitching close. So let's go over to the sewing machine. I'm going to demonstrate this and then we are wrapping it up. Let me know if this is helpful, you guys. All right. Let's go. So what I'll do is I'll take this strip first and I'm going to line the edge of the strip up with the edge of my raw edge of the fabric. And I'm just going to stitch down. Just going to stitch it down. Okay. Not sewing on the seam, but sewing on the fabric. Close enough that it's still moving. Okay. When I get down here to the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing, come across. Okay. Seal that. And turn it around, and I'm going to take the boning, slip it inside like that, and push it all the way over to the seam. You see when I press down, make sure you guys can see this. Get some light in here. Can y'all see that okay? All right. So if you see my finger, okay, what just happened? Okay. That's where the boning is. I've pushed it all the way over to one side. Now I'm just stitching as close as I can without touching the boning. Push that all the way over. Make sure it's touching and make sure you're close because you don't want it moving around. And you can use, if you've got muslin, fine. If you've got a piece of cotton, I wouldn't use a piece of denim only because that's going to be so thick. And so then I get down to the bottom, leave my needle down, and stitch across. And that's it. All right. So now you have your boning. And that is how you do it if you don't have casing. Okay. That's how you do it. All right. All right, you guys, this has been fun. We spent the whole morning sewing together. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will be finishing this up, and I will post this video within the next week. So by next Saturday, it'll be up. It will be part 3. Yeah, it'll be part 3. We'll sandwich these pieces together and we will create a beautiful corset. I'm also going to finish the skirt in the video. You won't see the full thing because I've already created the skirt in a past video. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. Thank you all. Do not forget to give this video a like. I know this was super, super long. Oh my gosh, it is 11:30. 9, 10, 11. 3.5 hours. So this definitely is a 5-hour project. Okay, for sure, 5+. And if you're a beginner, I would say 7. So definitely divide your time up over the week. Do a little bit on Monday, a little bit on Tuesday, a little bit on Wednesday, Thursday. Spread it out. Okay. I will get this done. These are the grommets that I'm using. They are also in my not Amazon. They're in my LTK store with links. Comes with the tools and everything. I really like these. In the video, I will show you how you can get the best out of this tool, because the way they describe it to you online, I have learned it's not the best. So I will show you that. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your Saturday. And tomorrow's video is kind of the part 2 to the video where I talked about how the thrift store prices are so high. I am giving you all some saving, some ways to save money thrifting. I know that is like an oxymoron, but that video goes up tomorrow at 10. If you are a member of the channel, you've already seen it because I've already seen you guys watch it and your comments. But it goes live tomorrow to the public at 10 a.m. Give me some feedback. I'd like to know what you think about my suggestions on how to save money thrifting. And if you all have other ideas, let me know. Okay? Thank you guys. Have a great day. Mwah. Have a good one.